Hey there, and welcome back to the I Do Me podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Stanley. You might be noticing that I sound a little bit different. I didn't buy a new microphone, but I did realize very recently that I have been using it upside down. So if you had any misconceptions about me being a professional podcaster, throw those aside. We've also upped our video game for this episode. So mainly because I noticed more of you are actually watching than just listening. And today's topic is a special one, and it's also quite close to my heart. So we are going to be talking today about affirming toys and products for trans and non-binary folk. And I know a lot of trans people in particular avoid sex shops like the plague, because of the marketing and just because it's scary to walk into such a sexually charged place as a trans person. And you might be thinking, well, there's nothing for me in there anyway. We are going to change that perception today. So, whether you're trans yourself or you have a trans partner, we're going to be talking about combating dysphoria in the bedroom, whether that's during sex or during masturbation. And if that's not you, stick around anyway, because I guarantee you're going to learn something, and I've got pleasure tips for all, as always. Let's explore. So, before we can talk about affirming products for trans people, we need to understand what trans people are all about in the first place. What is gender dysphoria? Now, gender dysphoria technically is distress caused by a mismatch between gender identity and aspects of the body. The best way I've ever actually heard this described, bear with me, visual format, um, I'm going to try and paint a picture in your head. So I want you to visualize a stick figure with an arrow pointing to the head, an arrow pointing to the heart, and an arrow pointing to, I suppose you would call it the crotch, but the genital area on a stick figure. The head represents self-image, so it's how you perceive yourself. The heart represents love and attraction, and the genitals represent physical sex. When there's a mismatch between self-perception and physical sex, that's dysphoria. The reason for the heart part of the stick figure is because the heart is, like I said, love, attraction. When you have, say, for example, physical sex, female, attraction, female, you get a lesbian. um, when you have physical sex, male, heart, female, you have a hetero person. So that's the reason for the other part of the stick figure. But basically, that's what it is. There's a mismatch. Something's not right between perception and reality. Now, the distress that comes with dysphoria can be triggered by obviously anatomy, but also the language used during sex. And then, in addition to the language, the sexual expectations that come with that gender. Now, it's important to realize that not all trans people experience dysphoria, but most do. And because of that, they might avoid certain types of stimulation because it triggers that dysphoria. Um, it's like we said before, we described it as distress. So now that we have a bit of an overall understanding of what dysphoria is, you can understand why affirming sex products and affirming sex acts are so important and can be so powerful for trans people. Before we jump straight into products, I want to talk a little bit about the human body because a lot of people don't realize this, but in early fetal development, human bodies are following pretty much the same blueprint before any sort of sex differentiation actually happens. And in fact, every human is conceived female. The structures that develop into a clitoris is the exact same tissue as what develops into a penis. So That's why they actually look exactly the same close up. And if you're a trans guy who's taking testosterone, you may have noticed that. But it doesn't just stop there. It's the reason that men have nipples. Ovaries, for example, descend and become testes. And if you're someone who owns testes, and you've ever owned what that sort of seam-like line is down the middle, that is your fused labia, friend. So because the human body develops so similarly, we share some things like nerve density and sensitivity in erogenous zones is pretty much the same, regardless of the physical sex. So male and female bodies are actually a lot more alike than society would like to admit. So we're going to start off with something for my non-binary folk or gender-neutral folk. We're going to talk about some toys that focus on sensation rather than anatomy. So they're not specific to specific body parts, but they are pleasurable regardless. So in the 101 episode, we talked about external vibrators, so your bullets, your wands, the things that are designed to be used on the outside of your body only are great if you're a gender neutral person, because they can be used on any erogenous zone. You can use a wand vibrator, for example, on your nipples. Everyone has nipples. They can be used on the perineum. They can be used on the tip of your nose. We'll get into erogenous zones in a different episode, but just I'm going to throw that one out there. You've also got suction simulators are great for non-binary folk or gender-neutral people, and your sensation toys, so things that focus more on texture or temperature than actual direct stimulation. Moving on to my trans dudes. For trans men, there's actually quite a good variety of products available. So I'm going to start with a classic. You're packing dildos. Now, these aren't always dildos. Um, in fact, you can get underwear that has a bulge built into the underwear. If you're somebody who doesn't like multiple moving parts, you can get separate packing dongs that actually sit flush against the pelvic bone and can be used for sexual penetration. There are different sizes, colors, textures. Most of them are made out of silicone, but packers are something that's very affirming, obviously, having that sort of visible and physical bulge there. Amazing. If you're recently transitioning, packing is an awesome place to start if you're looking for that sort of affirming feeling. So, like I said, some packing toys will somewhat operate. They're designed to be sort of, I don't want to use the word floppy, but I'm going to use the word floppy. They're not firm. If you want to participate in penetrative sex, you're going to want to look at strap-ons. When I say strap-ons, there are hundreds of varieties in the way these come. But basically what you want to look for is something that's comfortable, has nice wide waistbands, is not a G-string. Think about having a piece of leather or fabric in between your butt cheeks while you're trying to thrust with your hips. No G-strings. And something that's going to accommodate the type of toy that you want to use. So you can get harnesses that have interchangeable stainless steel rings or even silicone rings, which are a bit more flexible. But that will allow you to use a wider variety of toys with that harness. And then obviously, if you're looking for discretion or even convenience, look for a harness that doesn't have big bulky buckles or anything like that. Something that you can actually wear under your normal clothing so that when the moment arrives, you are ready to go. Next up, mini strokers. So you'd be familiar with, or most people would be familiar with a product called the Fleshlight. It's basically a silicone sleeve that's designed to replicate the sort of texture, stimulating texture of a vagina. You can get these small, and I mean small. So if you're a trans guy who's been taking testosterone for a little while, or maybe you just have a larger clitoris, mini strokers are going to give you that sensation of penetration without needing anything external. So mini strokers, amazing. One of my favorite products for trans people. And then tying the two together, you can actually get not so much packing, more toys for your strap on that actually ejaculate. So if you're looking to experience the full experience of being a man, penetrating someone and ejaculating, there are toys out there, and obviously the ancillary products that go with it that can give you that sensation. Some of them will use like a syringe, or a like a bulb, to pump liquid through the toy, but you can actually get ones that are remote controlled as well. So you remove that sort of awkward having to squeeze a tube to come. You press a button in your pocket instead. Now, for my male to female, my trans women, again, wide variety. Some of this stuff's not actually available in store though, so you might have to shop around online. Be aware, not all online stores are the same, not all brands are the same, and I can't even give you guidance when it comes to online stuff because it's really, you got a 50-50 shot of getting what you're after or not. You know, it's like buying something off Temu. Is it gonna be a dress or is it gonna be a pair of headphones? You have to wait till you get it and find out. So but the first one I'm going to mention is silicone body forms. So you can get these top, bottom, or full body. If you're living in Australia, be very mindful that when you put silicone over the top of your skin is going to sweat a lot. So if you're going to commit to a full body form, do it in winter. Otherwise, you've got breast forms, and then you can actually get bottom forms as well. The results are going to vary. Like I said, depending on where you get it, how it's been designed, the material, all that sort of thing, as to how comfortable it's going to be to wear. But it, but if you're someone who's early transition, I think top silicone breast forms are an excellent way to sort of experience the sensation of having breasts straight away without having to wait 3 years for them to grow on hormones. And again, from the 101 episode, we've got our sit-on or our lay-on vibrators. The lay-on vibrator is designed to sit in the palm of your hand. So unlike a bullet where you hold it kind of like a pencil, a lay-on vibrator has a much wider tip. It's not pointed, it's kind of spoon-shaped, and it's a broader surface area of stimulation. And because it sits in the palm of your hand, it allows you to hold it on different areas of your body a lot more comfortably, particularly during partnered sex. So a lay-on is, I would always recommend a lay-on over a bullet for a trans person, personal preference, but start there. And then you've actually got sit-on vibrators, which are designed to be stuck to a surface. You can use them on a couch or a bed or something like that as well, but it's basically a hands-free experience. So you're not having to look or touch anything directly yourself. Just sit and play. Again, wands. You're going to hear me talk about wands a lot. I love a wand. But it's a similar sort of concept to your lay-on vibrator. So it's a diffused large surface area of stimulation. It's not targeted, it's not a pinpoint thing. It's spreading joy over a larger area. Wands are fantastic for different erogenous zones. You can use them on your inner thighs, you can use them on your nipples, you can use them on the perineum. Now, the perineum, for anybody who's wondering, that's like the third time I've said that word. What is that word? The perineum is the technical word for the gooch, right? It's the piece of skin in between your naughty bits and your butthole. Gooch, perineum, for those who would like to be, if you please. So, but the thing about the perineum is that it's stacked full of nerve endings. It can actually be extremely pleasurable. And if you are someone who owns a prostate, not for everyone, bodies are different, but you can actually stimulate the prostate through the perineum sometimes. So if you're someone who is, you know, no go for anal stimulation, but you still want to experience prostate stimulation, explore your perineum. But if you're not someone who's afraid of anal stimulation is fantastic, particularly for male to female trans people because of the prostate. Now, we talked about bodies being similar, developing similarly. The prostate is basically the Skene's gland in a woman. So when a woman has a G-spot orgasm, if you're a trans woman, you can do that too. So all your toys that are designed for G-spot stimulation, 9 times out of 10 will also work for prostate stimulation. So, like I said in the last episode, if you're exploring, you don't know exactly where your spot is, which is totally normal. Go for something with a flat base. Again, we're trying to spread the search area. So nothing pointed, nothing targeted. Go for something nice and broad, and you want a nice curve on it as well. And then some tips in general. Ignore marketing. Like I said in the last episode, all these products are designed with an intended use. There is no rules. If you find something that's an anal toy, but it hits your G spot in that perfect spot every time, use it. It doesn't matter that it's black. It doesn't matter that the box says it's an anal. Just use it. Ignore the marketing. Always go for something body safe, which again is why I always recommend you go in-store. Buy a reputable brand. Buy something that is going to be made with some level of quality control. Avoid Temu, please. But go for your medical grade silicone, go for your glass, go for your stainless steel. You will, when you shop in store, see exactly what the products you're buying are made out of, and you will be able to get advice about the best lubricants to use with those products as well. And the number one thing to remember is when you're buying a product, orgasm is not the goal. Once you get it home, you take it out of the box, set your expectations at exploration. That's what we're going for. Ignore orgasm altogether. We're exploring. So go slow, be curious, experiment with different angles, different positions, especially if it's not the style of toy that you're used to using. You will get frustrated if you go into it believing the marketing and thinking that if I turn this toy up to 10, it's going to make me come. Don't go into it that way. We're exploring. Go slow, be curious, and experiment. And that's pretty much going to wrap us up. Just keep in mind, again, there is no right way to experience sexuality. If you're someone who enjoys a particular erogenous zone over another, and you think that oh no, that doesn't count, it counts. So whatever it is, pleasure should feel like home in your own body. Whatever part of your body you enjoy the most. As always, questions, social media. If you do want to see the video that goes along with this, jump on YouTube. I'll see you next time.